Thanks for tuning into the very first episode of the Collective VC podcast. The following is a conversation between myself and Javier Caruso. Unfortunately, the wrong mic input was selected, so it doesn't sound as good as this mic, but I'll be sure to rectify that in future episodes, and I hope you can enjoy this episode regardless.
Yes, I'm Javier Caruso. I currently live in Argentina. I have different initiatives. One is called Webstarted, in which I'm the CEO and founder. And in that company, basically, we help other startups just to build distributed teams. We also have a software as a service platform. We have an educational space for people in Latin America. And we also have a site that is called Webstarted Ventures, that is the vehicle through we do all or my angel investments and all the mentorship here in Latin America for young startups.
Nice. And if I'm not mistaken, you tried to take Webstarted Ventures through Venture Institute, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I did it and I reached up until the end, but I was not able to raise the money that they asked me. So I didn't actually graduate, but I'm planning to do it probably, in 1 year or so, just to try again.
I'm sure you'll be successful, and it's always good to try something once and then learn what the challenges are and what the
Exactly.
biggest hurdles are to overcome. You said the challenge was raising. I wonder if that ties into the sort of wider Latin American investment sort of situation. I wonder if you can speak a little bit on the Latam VC market.
Yeah, for me, the Latin market has been grown regarding the amount of venture capitals that you can see. In the past, you were not able to find so many venture capital firms, but right now, over the past years, we saw like a really high number of venture capitals that they started to rise. So I think that from that side is really good. The only bad thing is like it's a little bit difficult to get money for those VCs to get investments from outside because maybe they do not know exactly all the context or the politics in Latin America, and they decide, just I do not know if this will be too much risk to invest or not, but it's just information. Luckily, I saw also a really a huge number of new startups here from Latin America that I think that is what it drives me most to start investing, right? Because I see a lot of talent in Latin America, a lot of people with a lot of energy in order to build new different things for the world. And I wanted just to help. So I think that, yeah, the VC in particular and the startups that we have in Latin America has been grown. And I hope that this continue to grow.
Awesome. And what sort of sectors are you seeing growing the most?
Well, fintech is one that is everywhere, and climate tech I think that is where I see a lot of different initiatives with climate tech. I see a lot of different companies working on that. On the HR tech, I also saw a lot, and in education. So I do not see anyone in particular about those four. We have a lot of different startups with different ideas about how to do things and that's the beauty.
And how does that tie into your particular investment thesis? What are your personal sort of views on, the most promising sectors, and which sort of founders do you enjoy helping the most, would you say?
Well, actually, I'm not invested in any sector in particular. I invest in people that uses technology as as a tool. So anything that is a software as a service, I'm interested in to invest because it's also where I feel that I can contribute both. Because with my initiatives that I have been working for many years, I have also a technical background. So I think it's in those sector companies that they use technologies for something like a software as a service are the things that I'm most interested because I feel like I do not want to just to put money and that's it. I want to put money, but also with all the companies that I have invested, I have meeting with them once every month or once every 3 months, but I have meeting with them because I love to help. So for me in particular, I invest more in the people and I believe in the people. And of course that I review the project and review, the metrics, the RRR and all the different metrics. But for me, the key thing is people. It's like the energy that they have, the idea, how much open they are in order to accept suggestions, because I love to help, right? So that is um, my my way of investing.
I'm really interested in this idea of building conviction in people and in
Uh-huh.
founders. And I think it often correlates with building a conviction kind of before product market fit sometimes, right? Because you see a founder and you see their ambition and their determination. And especially if you really get on well with them, you know that your value add is going to be well received. So I was wondering maybe if you could share how you best get to sort of gauge people and learn about people.
Well, the majority of the companies and founders that I meet was, through events or through connections. So I always have like a first meeting. Hey, how are you? And in that meeting, you just get a sense about, what type of uh, founder is, if he's too shy or he doesn't want to talk so much or is not too open to ideas or even to show the product. Sometimes people say, "Oh yeah, no, let's do another meeting. I don't feel to show you." So you get a feeling when when you have that first meeting, and then I think that you start talking with the person and you feel that energy that is flowing, right? So, oh yeah, you're doing that. Oh, you can do that. Oh yeah, you know what? I also thought about that, but it's in my roadmap maybe for next year. So you see that you have aligned your ideas or the vision that they have for the product, that is something that you would also do. And that is one of the reasons that I invested. I always wanted to invest or do, for example, a solution for fintech, right? So but I don't have the time. I have so many things to do that I never had the time to start my own one. So that's why when I found a particular company that I really like it, that they were building what I wanted to build like years ago, I said, you know what, if you accept me, I will totally help you because you are doing what I wanted to do years ago. And it's
Mm,
a way not to create it, but because I'm not, but I'm contributing to this idea that I wanted to build years ago, but I never found the time. So it's that feeling also that you are again not doing it, but you are helping to build that idea that you have that you didn't find the time just to do it before.
mm. I relate to that a lot, and it's part of the reason I'm drawn to VC as a career path. Kind of because I have lots of different ideas all the time, and if I try to do all of them, then I know I would do none of them. So what I do is I park them in a big notes document, and I've tried to mind map some of them and work out the sectors I'm really interested in. But I've realized that a lot of them are being built or they're going to be built. So I would rather find those founders, work out how I can provide them value, and then
Exactly.
if that includes connecting them to money that's out of their reach that would really help them scale and grow, and then everybody wins. I see that as a better option for a career than me trying to do everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. I still have the idea to create a venture studio in the future, so but let's see.
Mm. Because I mean, when you're incubating ideas in house in a venture studio, obviously there's a lot more, you know, bandwidth for applying that value, right? Where instead of just having a call once a month, because I imagine when you call someone every week or every month, you want to hear all the updates, but you also want to give advice. And then how do you sort of structure those to make it really sort of optimum?
Well, basically, with all the companies, as soon as we sign the safe or anything like that, I told them, hey, I would like to have like a monthly meeting just to, not not to, give you orders or anything like that. It's like just, let's do a sync meeting. Let me see what you need. How can I help? Maybe if you have some ideas about, growing your company, let me know how are you with money because I can maybe put you in contact with some other VCs. So basically, the structure is like a monthly meeting with them, and from there you see what you can do to help to this company. So that
Mm,
is my way of doing. Once a month, half an hour is not so much. And then if we need to talk about any other thing, yeah, we do a specific meeting just for that. Like a company asked me about, hey, I need to hire maybe 5 people, but I do not know exactly the role. So, oh yeah, let's do a meeting with my COO that, we take care of that. So I will put you in contact with my COO and she is the one that it will let you know exactly what you need, will understand exactly what you need. And then we can give you a better recommendation about what roles you can hire from the technical side. So a meeting once a month, I think that is what's work for me because it's not so much and they do not feel like I'm, pursuing them or following them just to, hey, what are the things? What are the things? So we are not doing that. We are just waiting when we know that this is a long-term investment, but we
Mm.
try to help in any way. Or maybe, in one of those talks, they say something about something in particular, and you say, oh, you know what? I spoke with a guy that also has some ideas that maybe you can correlate, that you put them in contact, and that's it. And that is just because we are having just a half an hour meeting every month, and we are able to do those contacts that maybe they will open you, business opportunities in the future.
Mm. And I think that really hits the nail on the head when it comes to the role of a VC being a super connector, right?
Yeah.
Because your network is so crucial. And if you can provide value to a founder by just finding someone else who has value, then, your job's done, right?
Exactly.
I'm curious how you curate the deal flow for yourself, because um, if a lot of your added value to founders comes from your recruitment side and that sort of specific focus, do you find founders who need recruitment, or do you sort of add that to your portfolio companies at a later stage?
No, no, not at all. And in fact, I think that not all the companies that invested in, they are actually working or hiring through me. Not at all. So when I invest, I separate things. Like I see
Okay.
this like a good investment, something that I think that it can grow and I can also help. And if they're going to use me or not in the future for hiring or even my software as a service, is not a stopper. And actually, I think that we don't even speak about that, at all. They know what I do, so if they need me, they are going to call me. But we
Yeah.
try not to push that, because I think that they should have the freedom, and not because I give you some money. Now you need to do this with me and not
Mm.
with others. So no, actually, we do get a lot of advice, right, to these people, because it's our expertise, but they do not need to work with us at all.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question, is obviously with a lot of expertise, do you ever see founders making decisions and you're thinking, oh, I wouldn't do that, or you're thinking, or maybe you could do that better? Because I don't know, I think there's a debate in VC as well surrounding whether teams who are built remotely or built in sort of alternative ways can actually perform and grow to the size that VCs are looking for. So maybe you could speak on that a little bit.
Yeah. It happened to me a few times. Like I say, hey, we should probably go this road and not the other. And the thing is, like, as I invest in people, I will believe what the founder decide, because they are the ones breathing the company, right? I'm just an outsider that I have some information, I have some ideas, and maybe if that was my company, I will do it in a different way. But they are the ones that they are breathing, right? The industry. So I always try to push for an idea two, maybe three times. And if after the third time they do not, they decide not to do it, I say, okay, it's your business. You are the CEO, you are the founder of the company. So it's your decision. But it happened to me a few times that they say, why you are not doing this, or why you are not
Yeah.
giving priority to this in particular. So I try to speak, but I never force anything, because imagine if you force to do something and that goes wrong. So that's also not good for you.
Yeah.
So I always try to uh, pitch the idea, to the founder, and say, hey, I think that if you do this, we can open this new business and this kind of thing, or I think that we can grow more with this. But it's always like an idea, but not a push in order to do anything.
Mm. It sounds like there was a example or a case study that was just itching to get out there. So you don't
Oh,
have to
yes.
go into detail, but what would you say some of the hiring best hiring practices would you say for founders?
Best hiring practices for
Well,
founders.
I imagine that's where you wanted to give your expertise, right?
No. This particular case was another. It was regarding how this company needed to expand in particular, and in what countries, and maybe taking another business as a priority. But yeah, if you ask about hiring, yeah, actually that's something that we always do. And in that case, yeah, they always listen, because we are the expert on that field. So the majority of the companies, if they are, early stage, usually they do not have an HR manager or HR staffing or anyone in particular just to do hiring. So that's why they come to us and they ask us, hey, what is the best for this job description? What should I look for? So in that case, yeah, they listen to us. So that is a good thing. But in particular, when we try to pitch ideas for the companies, is the ones that if you don't want to do it, you are the founder, so it's okay for me. It's I will do it this way. Is
Mm.
my phrase.
I think that must be a bonus, right? Because I've heard some investors talk about at early stage HR and hiring shouldn't be a priority, but it should definitely be the responsibility of the founder to get it right. So if they can have your advice on hand, I imagine that's a kind of a weight taken off their shoulders because they know they can get that advice and they don't have to think about it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually where my companies are going. My companies regarding HR are going that road. So I want to solve hiring, in particular, for a company in early stage, but in any stage, but in particular, early stage is like really difficult because if you hire the wrong person, imagine you are just maybe 5, 8, 10, and if you have 2 or 3 bad hires, like it's like I don't know 30, 50% of your company that you may have people that you do not trust, and maybe
Mm,
you actually need those person because they are the only ones that know your source code or your business, and you have a delivery date and you cannot change them. So hiring is super important for me, more in the early stage, because you are all going to end up with things that in the future you're going to say, oh no, why I did it, why I have this problem here, right? So
mm,
hiring in particular is something that I always love it just to solve that problem. And that is why I have the service company and also the software as a service that we are growing into that way. We want to solve anything that is regarding staffing, in particular for early stage, because you need people with specific mindset, for an early stage company, in my way of thinking.
yeah, and relating to mindset, I guess, is they also have to believe in what they're working on, right? Because if you're hiring before you've received funding even, or you're hiring or potentially trying to build a team before you're looking at having any sort of serious runway, or you need to have someone who shares your conviction, right, and you can really trust. um so yeah, that's a realm that I think a lot of startups probably struggle in, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and in those cases, the majority of the companies, what they do is like if they found someone that is, key for the role that they believe, and as you mentioned, maybe you didn't receive money, probably those will be your co-founders, because they were there from the day one and they believe in the project. Of course, that everyone needs money, but
mm,
they maybe do not take so much money at the beginning. They just do it, on the side or even in the weekends in order because yeah, I believe in your product and I know that you cannot pay me, but if this idea actually works, let me be your co-founder. So a lot of companies started that, and I have cases that I saw that people that they were just working uh, over the weekends or after hours because they believe on the product, but they didn't have the money because they were like really early, really, really early stage, and they didn't manage just to get founded, right? So they wanted to build this really small MVP in order to go to a VC and say, hey, you know what? I have this. This is the idea. It's not just a
mm,
paper, something that is working here. Now let's talk.
yeah, makes a lot of sense. So yeah, just changing the trajectory of the conversation, I'm curious what you see the role of venture capital, firstly in the world to be, but also specifically in Latin America and Argentina to be.
For me, it's a key role because I think that the deployment of money will help to rise even new industries, new companies. So for me, is super super important. And there is a trend lately that a lot of VCs are doing these programs like this accelerator program or this growth program, and I think that those are the things that add a lot of value. Maybe there are even VCs that they do not invest in the companies, but they give it a really good price because they usually charge for that. But you can go to an Ignite program or an accelerator program, and I think that is really good because the VCs has all the expertise and connections, and they will help you as a young founder just to set your ideas straight in order to do not do something that you know that is going to fail, or that you do not have the contacts. So I think that VC is super important, not only for the money, also for
Mm,
what they can teach and the connections that they can build. And in particular in Latin America, I think that we have something different maybe from other companies, that is this, I don't know the exact word, but I will say kindness, or family, that we hug and we'll laugh, that maybe in other countries is a little bit more um, dry or distant. But here in Latin America, we have a busy party and we are all friends. We are just laughing each other. And yeah, business is there, but usually we talk about many other things. And I think that is another small difference. And it's a good thing because we can do a lot of connection. And I actually met a lot of people that I ended up investing into those meetings, right? So it was just a meeting that
mm,
we were just talking about other things, and oh yeah, yeah, and then oh yeah, let's talk tomorrow, and then we have a meeting, and then maybe we didn't spoke at all about business, just a little bit, and then at the other day. So I think that is something that is a little bit different, but the basics are the same, right? So maybe the numbers are a little bit small in Latin America because the majority, except for a few ones, the amount of capital that they deploy, they are not the same numbers as companies in UK, in US, in Europe in particular. But I think that is growing a lot. I'm super happy that it's growing, and just to see new VCs spawning up like every year.
mm. And I think that sort of excitement and that talking to people and getting involved in new ideas is why the sector is so attractive. But it also goes back to what you were talking about at the start, right? It's developing that gut feeling, but also good relationships. Um,
Mhm.
because you spoke about not pressuring founders too much. So I guess, do you have any a message for founders out there on picking a good and VC partner and what you should look out for?
Yeah, well, for me it's everything a balance, right? Because maybe there are companies that they are just, next month my bank account will be at zero, so I need money today. And maybe those are the positions that you should try to avoid, because maybe in those positions you are going to end up signing a contract with a VC that that they are going to, want to take the leadership, or they're going to put a small amount of money for a big chunk of your company. Then, you know, you need to try to avoid those particular things. But if you avoid that, I think that you should be um, also as a founder, you should, the VC will be your partner basically, right? Because they
Mm,
are going to be there. The majority of the VCs will try to help you, and they're going to know, hey, what are you doing? How are the numbers this month, this year? So you need to also pick your VC, is my point. Like, do not take money just because it's money and you need it. Try to avoid those situations. You
mm,
need to pick like a partner, right? Because that VC will probably be with you for many years. It's not like, oh yeah, give me the money and see you in 5 years. No, probably give me the money, but no, you need to talk with me. You need to let me know how the things are, and maybe they're going to introduce you to another VC. And imagine if you sign up with a really bad VC, or a VC that you actually do not like how they treat companies. Probably they are going to introduce you to another VC that maybe they have money, but they also have their own
mm,
rules. So, it can start like, oh no, this is not good. So I think that is really important. You should avoid those cases in which you need the money because otherwise your company will die. So try to avoid that. If you can avoid that, just pick the VC as is, your life partner basically, right? Because they are going to be with you, they are going to advise, so you need to pick them carefully, not just
mm.
take them on.
It's interesting how you said that a bad VC will probably introduce you to another bad VC. Do you think they sort of magnetize towards each other and collect bad VCs altogether?
I think that is a really high possibility of that, because you can find VCs that they just want to. Of course, that there is always money in the middle, right? So there is always the money, but there are VCs that they are more like, oh yeah, let me try to help you. The money will come if we do the things right, right? So that is one thing that the VC can say, or another VC will say, you know what, money first, uh, users later. So you may find those type of investors or VCs. So you need to be careful about how you want to partner with these particular companies, because otherwise they are going to force you for one direction that maybe you are trying to avoid. As I mentioned, for me,
Mm,
the the user is the key, right? So the user, if you are building a SaaS, it should be the key. And if you have 100 users, you need to um, make things for them to feel the product that you are listening to them, not just charge more because you need more money, right? So, and I think that those is one of big difference with investment, right? So there are companies that they just want money and it's an investment, and just talk me about how we can generate more money, and probably those who are going to introduce you to another bigger fish with the same ideas, right? Because the idea is just to, you need to grow in order for me to sell my shares into the big fish,
mm.
right? So those are the ones that you should try to avoid in my particular you know idea.
I understand that. And I guess that kind of relates to the idea of if you ask for advice, you might get money. And would you say that it's probably better to ask for advice because that's what might become the defining factor of that relationship is genuine advice and genuine help rather than money being the sort of overarching um, conceptual sort of framework.
Yeah. For me, as a founder, you should ask for advice, or I also do it with other VCs. I'm not looking for funding right now, but sometimes I say, hey, you know what? I have this HR company, and this is HR software. So give me your ideas, give me your advice. What do you think? Where should I go? And I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking about an advice because people may know more, and from that advice, probably even the VC will say, hmm, hmm, that is a really good idea. And maybe they will contact you in the future, and maybe the money will come. I think that if you do the things right, the money will come, like
Mm,
from the users or from your VCs. So you need to be sure that you are building something that is really good and is going to stick, and the money will come for sure.
nice. I'm conscious we are coming up on time, so I would just ask a final question. Um, if you had to shout out one of your portfolio companies now, who would it be and why?
Ooh, you put me in a different, in a difficult spot. No, I think the five companies that they invested in Latin America, they are doing just really, really, really good. So I do not have anyone in particular to just to shout out. I'm happy with all
Wow,
of them. And they are all growing. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with all of them.
awesome. That's a good political answer. And I'm sure if people are more interested, they can go and find your portfolio companies. I'm going to link all of Javier's links and socials down in the description. And thank you very much, Javier, for having this conversation. It was really informative. I'm sure lots of people can take lots of little gems out of here and apply them to their life, whether founders or VCs or and someone in between, like me. So thank you very much. And yeah, that was the Collective VC
Thanks
podcast.
to you.